So Paul Pierce, aka The Truth, recently went on Club Shay Shay, and he had a controversial take about him and LeBron, man. But before we get into this clip, man, make sure you like and subscribe. I appreciate you. Without further ado,
if we were the same age, I don't believe he would have had 4 championships. He wouldn't have got.
You kept him for 4.
He wouldn't have got those 2 in Miami.
All right, I'm a pause it right there. Like, I don't know the context before this question with, like, before, Paul Pierce is giving his statement. So I don't really know how it was set up, right? But that, like, that's a crazy way to start. That's a wild way to start the clip. Let's go back a little bit. Let's go back.
If we were the same age, I don't believe he would have had 4 championships. He wouldn't have got.
You kept him for 4.
He wouldn't have got those 2 in Miami. Because I gotta believe if we're the same age and I could offset him, and that would have been good enough,
right?
Like if he had got 40 in Game 6 and we the same, I would probably got 40 and offset him,
right?
Okay, so this is the way that Paul Pierce is going. He's saying basically, if he was younger, a few years younger than Bron, when he was in Miami, he wouldn't have been as dominant if they matched up against the Celtics. I'm not sure how much older Paul Pierce is. LeBron. So Paul Pierce is 48, and Bron was 41. How old is Bron? How old is Bron? Let's look it up. LeBron. So LeBron is. How old is LeBron? LeBron is 40, turning 41. So Paul Pierce is about 7 years older than LeBron. So that's his take. Let's listen to the rest.
I was at an older age then, a lot of miles and stuff, and it was hard for me to keep up with him. I ain't gonna lie. I'll be looking at that tape, Shannon, and I'm like, damn, I couldn't even move. Like, as a younger, I could have moved with him, but I'm
because in Brooklyn, you say you got it. You gonna dig him up in Brooklyn. I don't know what you was on that day.
My mind and body say 2 different things.
Your mind was saying one thing, that body said, "No, I
ain't got him." I thought I did.
That's coach.
All right, so there you have it. Those were the Paul Pierce statements. Now, Paul Pierce, let's just talk about it. Paul Pierce is Hall of Famer, all-time great, right? One of the greatest players in Boston Celtics history, with KG, Rondo, Ray Allen. They, those, the 4 main guys, they went out. They were able to bring a championship to Boston that one year. So you respect him. He's one of the greats. He's one of the greats. But as we know, there are levels. Like, and let me get this out the way. I grew up a Paul Pierce fan. Like, I had the Paul Pierce jersey and I also had a LeBron jersey. I ain't gonna lie, I had the LeBron jerseys too. The ones that are actually bringing back to Cleveland, that Cleveland is retroing. They just announced it. I had all 3 of those Bron jerseys. And I also had a green Paul Pierce jersey. Like, that was just a classic. That was a staple, right? So I have no bias, right? I have no bias when it comes to these 2 players. But Paul Pierce, I think he's tripping right here. I think he tripping right here. He talking about he pretty much neutralized Bron. Now, don't get it twisted. When they did match up, Paul Pierce held his own. When we were talking like prominent games, right? But we talking Bron, man. We talking Bron. We talking about arguably. And not arguably, but top 3 for the most part. People have him their top 3 all time. People say he arguably the greatest of all time. So it's levels, man. It's levels. Even though Paul Pierce is an all-time great, there is levels. It's levels to it, man. But I want to look at their head-to-head games. So we're about to stat watch a little bit. But again, stats don't tell the whole story, but we about to stat watch a little bit. All right, we on landofbasketball.com. Got LeBron versus Paul Pierce head-to-head game. So, summary of victories, right? There's a lot that goes into the basketball games, man. In terms of team, players' roles. We know LeBron more of a point forward. Paul Pierce was that, traditional small forward, right? He was, he put the ball in his hands. He go out, give you 25. He's gonna do his thing. He's gonna crash the glass, right? But he was score first, like buckets when his team needed it the most. Clutch player. And LeBron, he's a jack of all trades, but as we know, one of the greatest, all-time leading scorer in NBA history, right? He can one of the best passes we ever seen. He's walking tripped up, stat sheet stuffer. So, little context, right? So, summary of victories. Games 1, LeBron 35, Paul Pierce 34. Regular season, LeBron 18, Paul Pierce 21. Postseason playoffs, you got Paul Pierce 13 and LeBron with 17. So when it comes to team success, LeBron has the edge. LeBron has the edge in the playoffs. Paul Pierce has the edge in the regular season overall. It's 35-34 when a LeBron team faces Paul Pierce team. Now, when it comes to, here we got the stats in the games between them. You can see Bron 30, almost 30 right here, 37, 6, about 2 steals, a block. Paul Pierce, close to 25 and 3. But as we talked about the age gap, Bron is about 7 years younger than Paul Pierce, right? All right, we got the game highs right here. Game highs. And then here we go. Games with better stats than the other player. As you see, Bron from points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. Bron, had better stats than Paul Pierce when it came to, those specific stats. And when we talk about, one thing that Paul Pierce brought up was, he couldn't stay in front of LeBron when he was, at his age, right? When LeBron was in Miami, he was, kind of not declining, but he was on the back end of his career. Those latter years in Boston, and then, of course, with Brooklyn, Wizards, right? Clippers. So he couldn't really stay in front of LeBron like he may have stayed in front of him if he was younger. Remember, the age gap is about 7 years between the two, with Paul Pierce being 48 right currently, and then LeBron turning 41 later this year. So that was one thing Paul Pierce brought up. And when it comes to, when guys are, peak athleticism, right? I would say not even peak athleticism. I would say peak speed, peak agility, peak jumping, vertical. I would say first, let's say 5 to 7 years, guys are the most, when it comes to that, like speed, the fastest they'll probably be in their career, jumping the highs as well. So that's that, because as players get older, you get stronger, growing to your body. So that's that. But you're looking at these games head to head. Yeah, LeBron has the edge. Like I said, I'm not a stat sheet. I'm not just I'm not just looking at these stats. No, I don't agree with Paul Pierce. I'll just get out of the way. I don't agree with Paul Pierce because we know what type of player LeBron is. But of course, Paul was much more athletic in the beginning of his career than he was towards the end. And that's the case with most players. But I just, I don't see it, man. I don't see it. And Paul Pierce has a history, man. I think it's just that natural beef between, Miami and Boston, man, with those years back then. Because Paul Pierce, didn't he mention something about D Wade not too long ago, like a couple years back? He talked about how something regarding D Wade's career, if I'm not mistaken. So Paul Pierce, man, he not afraid to shake up the deck, man. So, in the comments, let me know your thoughts
on his memory here at Rocker Park. At his theme, somebody leave the basket. We're gonna see when the ball go post. Snacks, tell me yesterday, HBC.
Man, once again, man, I appreciate you having me, man, and congrats, man, on the platform. And I say keep it going, keep doing your thing.